have some pretty bad news to tell you about when it comes to the Pine Barrens, and well, I guess I'll share it with you. The Southern Pine Beetle, has now spread to the northwest woods in East Hampton town. That's right, the Southern Pine Beetle has spread to the northwest woods in East Hampton town, and the devastation there has been pretty bad. They are going to have to. They say that there are about 800 trees that are infested that will have to come down. And I just want to show you some of this area and show you what we are losing here and why is Southern Pine Beetle such a problem on Long Island, you may ask. Why is it so out of control here when other areas such as New Jersey seem to be doing much better in this regard? And New Jersey's hotter. It's true. Southern Pine Beetle is here because of climate change. When warmer winters are not killing off the beetles like they normally would be, but it's exacerbated by the fact of an unhealthy forest. Now, this is a photo of the northwest woods, and you'll see some old pitch pines here. But you'll also see a lot of oaks mixed in, and a lot, and I mean a lot of brush here, down here in this picture here. So let me just, I'll move this down like this. You see a lot of brush down here. And the problem is that because the forest is so overcrowded, it weakens the pitch pine trees. You notice all the dead branches on the bottoms of these pitch pine trees because they're not getting light because of all the oaks that have been growing in around. And why is there so much oaks and why is there so much brush, you may ask? It is because we don't have controlled burns in our pine barrens. Unlike New Jersey, which regularly burns large portions of the forest every year, for two reasons. It keeps the forest healthy, but it also prevents an uncontrolled fire from occurring. Now, here on Long Island, because the state refuses to adequately fund controlled burns, we have this mess here. All right, and this is why the northwest woods are dying. All right, and we need more. It's beautiful, but you can see the signs how a beetle could spread here very easily and very quickly because of the overcrowding. And there's a beautiful lake, and I don't know if the lake was affected or not. This is called Two Holes of Water Park. I know this lake, it may have even been drying up lately, but these are some pictures from that lake. I'm using different settings here, but these are some of my pictures I've taken. I haven't been here since 2009 to the Northwest Woods. It's a beautiful, beautiful spot, as you can see. And I'm really worried that all this beautiful scenery is now replaced, or will be replaced, by dying or dead pine trees. In as many parts of Long Island, these beetles have gotten out of control. And it's just been really, really unfortunate. This is really unfortunate. So this is the lake at Two Holes of Water Park. This lake, this is all areas that are at risk now. They are all at risk because of the poor management by the state of New York and the very poor response by the state of New York to this Southern Pine Beetle problem. And they mentioned Swamp Road, which is a beautiful road, which I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so let's have a look at Swamp Road here. It is probably one of the most picturesque, most beautiful roads in East Hampton. We've got all these beautiful old pitch pines that are just all along the road, and these old pines are now dying. And it's going to be a real shame to see all of this gone, taken out by the Southern Pine Beetle. This is a beautiful, beautiful area. These pictures were taken a while ago, back in the March of 2009. So, yeah, I haven't been to this area in a very long time. And I was thinking, oh, it'll always be there if I want to go back. But now it may be gone already. The beetles are spreading very rapidly in this area, and it really truly is just a beautiful, picturesque road, but it's being lost because of the poor response from New York State. They're very slow to remove infested trees, so by the time they get to removing the infested trees, and as you'll hear later in the article, they only remove them in the wintertime. They won't do anything now. The state is very slow to respond, and as the time goes by, the beetles spread. You have to address it immediately. It's like any communicable disease. If the diseased tree is not isolated, it will spread to other trees all around, and because of the crowding, that's what happens. So again, a beautiful road, beautiful scene, but you could see a lot of oaks growing in here, and this is an area that hasn't had a fire in a long time, and that's part of the reason why all the areas that have been involved in these outbreaks have been areas that haven't had fires in a long time, and that is part of the problem, because Pine Barrens, fire is an important part of the Pine Barrens, but here on Long Island, they go out of their way to suppress the fires, and they don't do the controlled burns, so you get this overgrowth and you get an unhealthy forest, and when there is eventually a fire, it's going to be a very destructive, out of control wildfire instead of something manageable. All right, this is because New York State does not view the Pine Barrens. They still don't view the Pine Barrens important enough. When you look at the promotion on TV, these commercials, they never talk, the New York promotion, the tourism, they never, ever mention the Pine Barrens. Never. I'm pretty sure New Jersey does, but New York doesn't do that. So it really is a beautiful, beautiful spot here, and it's going to be a shame when this is all gone. It could all be gone already. But you know something? I'm looking here in this picture. It looks like there's a tree right here that was infested at the time. See, and because you can see most of the needles have fallen off now. They may have been infested already by the beetles. This 2009, but because of the slow response from the state. Remember, I just started discovering the beetles years before they started talking about it. I discovered years, I reported on this probably 2 or 3 years before the state admitted we had a problem. All right? They were slow to respond. I just want to show you the pictures of another road called Two Holes of Water Road, which is right by that lake that I showed you toward the beginning of this video. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful area, beautiful scenic area that will lose a lot of the pines because the state is not acting fast enough. They don't act fast enough. They don't have the controlled burns, and they need to get their ass in gear, get these controlled burns going. Maybe we should have the state of New Jersey come in because they seem to know what they're doing. Bring them in, and they could get this under control because New York doesn't seem to know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to controlling these beetles and making our pine barrens healthy. So I'm going to read you the article. This article is in Newsday, but I'm also going to link. I'm going to link an article from 27 East down below, which pretty much says the same thing. Then I'll come back and we're going to look at the map of this area. Okay, so I'm about to read to you this article here, East Hampton. First pine beetle infestation fells 800 trees. This is East Hampton's first major southern pine beetle infestation. The southern pine beetle that has decimated thousands of trees around Long Island has hit East Hampton town for the first time, forcing officials to plan to cut down 800 infested trees. The pine beetle has been found in 6.5 acres of town property off Swamp Road, about 2 miles north of the East Hampton Airport, and in other isolated sections of the Northwest Woods neighborhood. Councilwoman Sylvia Overby said the infestation makes the pitch pine trees look like they've been wrapped in beige chewing gum. This is worrisome, Overby said. It will eventually kill them. Town environmental analysts Andrew Drake and Andrew Gates discovered the infestation a few weeks ago while surveying land. Town officials said they are applying for a New York State Department of Environmental Conservation grant to cover the estimated $80,000 cost of killing the beetles by cutting down the trees to expose the pests to the cold. The board has also approved contributing $16,000 to the effort on October 10th. But the number of pine beetles could increase by the time the trees are cut in January because they are active in temperatures above 45 degrees, said John Wernett, a DEC forester. They are always moving, Wernett said, noting the agency has spent $2 million this year alone in New York State to limit the northern spread, which has been exacerbated by climate change. Town Councilman Peter Van Scoyoc said the infestation has already increased within the past 2 weeks, making him concerned. We are going to lose most, if not all, of the trees eventually in areas of the northwest woods. It's probably unstoppable, but we are going to make an effort as best we can. So I want to show you the areas involved in this outbreak of the Southern Pine Beetle. So this area that is being affected is called the Northwest Woods, which is all the way over here. And you note all the green here that you see? Those are all pines, mostly pitch pines. All right, and these are pine barrens in this area. So let's zoom in a little closer. I'll show you the overhead of the area that we're talking about here. So you can see all of this dark green here. These are all pines. These are all pitch pines. And had the state DEC been making regular drone flights to look at the trees, they would have spotted the outbreak sooner before it spread to 800 trees. And, you know, we could lose all of this, according to what you heard in the article. All of this could be gone. All of this could be killed by the Southern Pine Beetle. And you may ask, well, how can it kill that many trees? Well, I'm going to show you some areas on Long Island that have been heavily affected by the Southern Pine Beetles in the following images, aerial images, and you will see how the state's slow response, along with the lack of controlled burns, has caused Long Island's pine barrens to be extremely vulnerable to the Southern Pine Beetle. Okay, so we're going to first I've showed you this before, but I just want to show you again what's going to happen in this area because it hasn't been controlled. So one of the worst outbreaks was in Henry's Hollow. So and this is Henry's Hollow. And this used to all be green, just like this. This whole area used to be green. But all these pine trees here got killed by the Southern Pine Beetles. And they wound up coming in and doing, the DEC did wind up doing some cutting over here. So it did stop. The cutting works. If you cut the infested trees in time, it does stop the outbreak. But you have to get it in time. So that's one area, but there's another outbreak. They got that outbreak under control, but there's another much larger outbreak that's occurring here at the Hills. This is where they want to build that Hills development, and there's been absolutely no action from the state DEC. I wonder who's getting paid off there by the developer, because this developer has got obviously deep pockets and he's paying off a lot of people, and pretty much most of the pine trees on this site are going to be dead. And so then he can say, well, there's no forest left, so now I can build my luxury golf course and $1 million homes. And you can see here, I'm going to zoom in, you can see here are all the affected pine trees, and it's almost like you can see it's just moving south. So literally, it's just moving all over the place. It's like almost like on a petri dish. The germ is just growing, and this is a huge area here. And it's continuing unchecked. There has not been any suppression efforts in this area whatsoever by the DEC to stop this outbreak. So it's literally spreading, and it's probably going to spread into this area too, which it looks like a really nice area too. You can see this looks like a really nice desert area, and the sandhills over here and everything. And then you see all these trees are dying. So this is where they want to put that Hills at Southampton. So you got to wonder why they're not doing anything about that. And then we have, I'm going over the areas where the outbreaks have been the worst. Then we have Hubbard County Park. Have this area right here, which you saw in a video I took, I think, last year. Was it earlier this year? All these dead trees here. All these dead pine. There was no suppression effort in this area whatsoever, so it literally has now pretty much, there's some pine trees left, it looks like, but you can see it's slowly but surely all these pine trees are going to die because there was no suppression effort in this area. So yeah, they did one suppression effort in Henry's Hollow, but what about all the other areas? You know, what about they just do one, and it's not enough. It's not enough. They need to do much more than that. All right, I'll show you one other area, and that's Connecticut River State Park, where that's another major outbreak here that has killed a lot of trees. So, yeah, most of this area used to be green. There used to be pines here, in all these areas here, Connecticut, but they're all dead. It got out of control very fast, and again, slow response from New York State. There were a few trees infested when it was started. They could have gotten it under control, but they never did, and it's still expanding. It's going into this area now here. Oh yeah, you can see there's a whole bunch of dead trees into this area too. So it's going into the western part of Connecticut River State Park into Bohemia. Oh my God, yeah, I actually haven't seen this. I haven't seen this for a while. Yeah, it's gone into they updated this view, so it's now gone into Bohemia County Park as well. And they're not doing enough. They're not doing controlled burns. They're not doing enough suppression. They are not doing enough to save the Long Island Pine Barrens. And I think it's pretty clear when you look at these images and my experience, and when you compare it to New Jersey, which has hotter weather and somehow has a much healthier pine barrens. It's obvious New Jersey is doing something right, and we need to bring in the folks from New Jersey, take control of this situation, because New York sure ain't doing shit right now. And New Jersey needs to come in and get this problem fixed, because if we don't, we will lose the Pine Barrens, and in order to see the Pine Barrens, we'll have to go to New Jersey, and that sure is going to suck. Anyway, thank you for watching.